Hello and welcome back to Tales from the Age of Men, and indeed, look at where we are now. Oh yes, we are now at the closest castle that we can possibly get to from Rohan territory, and the reason why we're here is because Grimslade is giving me crashes, and I don't know why. I have no idea why that is, because I believe we attempted to besiege that particular fief beforehand. If I recall correctly, I think we did. And we did actually manage to go in to the siege as well. So that kind of makes me a little bit weirded out. I don't know why that's happening, but yeah. I'm now deciding to just completely skip over Grimslade, and we're just going to go for something completely different here. Now, this is obviously not exactly great. You know, it would be good if we could, you know, eliminate Rohan in general, because they are basically almost done. They have one more fief remaining, I believe, which is actually two more fiefs, I think. Two more fiefs remaining, and generally it would be fantastic if we could continue to actually do that, because if they're eliminated completely, then they're done, you know, they are completely and 100% done, which would be fantastic. But yeah, unfortunately, it does look as though we're going to have to be a bit patient about that, and hopefully, some of our vassals might actually, you know, decide to make their own army, create their own wonderful destroyer of opponents that they have available there. Maybe, I'm not entirely sure if they will do that, but if they do, then we're going to have a great time, because that means we won't have to worry so much about everything that's going on. And I personally won't have to go over there and besiege it myself, because, as I said, there is a weird crash going on with that, and it's doing the error that it's giving me is MBSuperSpeed, which I believe is to do with the base game. There's something to do with the base game. I'm not entirely sure what's going on with that, but yeah. Anyway, the fact is, I cannot go in there, so we're going to have to let our AI friends do the work if they want to, because they might very well just decide, you know what, we're not going to do any of that. And you know, it makes kind of sense that they probably won't do anything, you know, to help us out there. But I mean, I can only hope that they will, because if they do, then we will be able to eliminate Rohan for good, and that's going to be great. Because then we are, well, then we're only going to have Gondor to focus on. And then Isengard can actually start being a bit more efficient, because as it stands right now, what they're doing is they're having to focus on all these Rohan vassals, and they're making a really, really big deal of that. You know, they're making it very, very annoying. Oh yeah, someone actually asked me a question. How am I moving so fast? You know, talking about the movement speed here. How is my guy moving so fast? Well, that's the thing. At the very beginning of the series, I basically said I was going to create a fast movement speed guy, which means taking all the perks that provide you with movement speed, things that are generally just going to be focused on movement speed without any ranged weapons, without any shields, you know, stuff like that. That's really going to make a huge difference. 60 renown for us right there, and obviously this is not a town, so I won't be able to take any of these things unless I want to be moving really, really slowly, and obviously I don't want to really do that. So we are just going to be taking all the loot, I guess. Yeah, I think we'll take all the loot. I think that sounds like a good idea. And I will show you a couple of the perks that I have gotten to increase our movement speed. And generally I would look under the athletics tree and the two-handed tree most of the time, because that's what we've mostly focused on, as you can see right here. So you could see that we went for, let's have a look, where is it? Where is it actually? Is it actually even here? No, two-handed is not. No, two-handed is not where it's at. So morning exercise, obviously, right? Morning exercise, form-fitting armor, because obviously you want to reduce your armor weight, because armor weight is, of course, going to contribute to you moving slowly. Then I have sprint. Now sprint is obviously another 5%. So at the moment we have morning exercise with 3%, sprint with 5%, and then we also have I think there's maybe... No, there isn't anything else. Okay, but we can take Mighty Blow now, which is really nice, which allows us to get that additional, you know, couple of hit points and things like that. And there is actually I think there's another movement speed thing. I think it's in one-handed, but I don't think we have that right now. Yeah, I don't think we have that right now. If there is actually something like that, I could be wrong. But yeah. Oh no, there it is, there it is. There we go. Yeah, so fleet of foot does give you another 4%. So generally, you'd have 12% in increased combat movement speed if you went with all the things that I've mentioned so far, which I personally feel is pretty decent. Not entirely sure if there is... Yeah, there is actually something else with polearms here, which allows you to gain additional 2% combat movement speed with polearms. So you could potentially do that as well. If you're using a polearm, that would give you 2% extra, which is okay. You know, I wouldn't say that that's particularly amazing, but... well... If you want to, you know, if you want to, then obviously you could do that. But yeah, that's basically it. Those are the things that I'm currently using. I think there is another perk somewhere else as well that will provide you with some pretty decent movement speed. But the 5% from the athletics tree from sprint is really making a big difference. Obviously, I'm not using a shield and I'm not using a ranged weapon, so that's obviously, you know, the big chunk of percentage that we're currently getting. But yes, anyway, as you can see, Grimslade is over there. Unfortunately for me, I won't be able to take it. Aeol's Watch has just been taken as well, not by our forces, unfortunately, but by someone else. And you can see here that, funnily enough, it looks as though these fellows are not being, you know, attacked at all, and it looks as though the other fellows are actually the ones being attacked. So this is actually going to be kind of weird, because on the one hand, Rohan is not really, as you can see right here, I mean, they're going to be running around continuously now. I guess the only thing we can do is just wait and see what happens. Maybe our forces are going to do something with that. But yeah, the only thing I can do now is, because there are no other... wait a minute. We could go up here. That might actually be kind of fun. Okay, let's try going up there, and we'll see if we can make something work. Oh, now look at what we have here. Alright, well, I certainly wasn't expecting this. I was making my way over to this fief, and I was thinking to myself, oh yeah, there's not going to be anyone here. But look, we have someone from Dunland attempting to take it. And I guess what I'm going to do is I'm probably just going to leave them to it, to be honest, and we're probably just going to move on to the town nearby. This might actually make things a little bit... well, it's not going to make things dicey or anything like that, but it is going to be a little bit uncomfortable. Not sure if we're going to do okay here, but hopefully we will. Now, I am probably going to be taking foragers here just purely for the reduced disorganized state duration, because it really does make a big difference in my opinion. However, Beast Whisperer is actually kind of good, to be honest, because a 5% chance to find a mount when traveling through steppes and plains. Most of the time you are going to be traveling through steppes and plains. There's quite a few environments like that, unless you are obviously primarily in snow-covered territory or in a desert or something like that, then obviously this isn't really going to do much. But I am going to be taking foragers just for that disorganized state duration decrease. Sounds pretty good to me. We're also going to go for a little bit of extra tactics skill here, and then we're going to move on, and we're going to hopefully get to over here. The question is, I mean, this is this is actually the only town in this area, as you can see. So basically, if I wanted to get another town and capture that, it would be all the way down here, which would be kind of harsh. So from my perspective, I feel like this is pretty good. 74. Oh dear. Alright, 74 days. 74 days. That is going to be very, very dangerous. That means we're going to have to deal with the garrison itself, which we have proven in the not-too-distant past we are capable of handling, but I am almost 100% certain this particular garrison is going to be so much more difficult. Alright, so I'm actually contemplating whether we should go in here right now or whether we should wait a little bit longer to make sure we get the nighttime. I know. Usually, I'm gonna say, I don't like fighting in the nighttime, it's terrible, yeah, you can't see anything. Yeah, absolutely. However, the one thing that we must consider when thinking about going in at nighttime is that the opponent's archers are probably going to be a little bit less effective in those situations, and it's really going to make a big difference to our effectiveness. Because then they're not going to kill us. They're not going to kill us as easily. So let's go straight on in here, see if we can do something. Obviously, they have a full garrison. So technically, if we win this, this is going to be exceptional renown. Absolutely amazing renown. And, well, I don't really... I mean, yeah, sure, renown is obviously still important, but getting to tier 5 is pretty much my main end game goal most of the time, because when you get tier 5, noble retinues starts to kick in, and a bunch of the other policies that allow you to, you know, increase your party size and things like that really makes a big difference. But as it stands, well, we don't really have too much to worry about right now, apart from the fact that hopefully we won't get absolutely murdered. And I am going to try and stay alive as best as I can. I want to try to beat my previous record of 100 kills. So that is what we will try to do. I will try to get more than 100 kills. And I think it is very possible, considering the enemy is basically not wanting to... Apparently they don't want to defend themselves. They are trying to defend themselves, but apparently my fighting style is too erratic for them. And it's going to be very difficult for them to defend or dodge or block or whatever. But yes, it does seem as though we are having a very nice time here. And we might even see some amazing strategies from the opponent very soon. If they decide to actually unleash them against us, it feels to me like they're actually just... I don't know, maybe they're underestimating us. That could be the point. Because they're basically saying that they don't want to give back, you know, the previous fiefs or anything like that. It might make sense for us to actually just accept the previous fief, however they want to deliver it. But the thing is, I don't really feel like that's a good idea. I'm going to tell my forces to charge in now instead of hold position. And we do have a number of archers over in the distance as well, which is definitely going to make a big... Oh dear. Yeah, it's going to make a big dent in our HP. I should probably learn from this, to be honest, and, you know, decide to go a bit of a different way next time. That's probably going to make a bit of a difference. There we go. Kill that. Thank you. And kill this. And you're not going to shoot me in the face? Yeah, there we go. We actually managed to eliminate him before he managed to get that shot off. Very nice. And we should be fine here as long as we can make sure that we just block, dodge, and parry. Dip, dive, duck, dip, and dive, and dodge. Yes. Those are not the 5Ds, that's for sure. No, those are not the 5Ds. There's a few too many, but also too many repetitions in that. So, yes. What is it again? Duck, dip, dive, dodge, and... I think it's dodge again, isn't it? Yeah, I think so. I think that's the line. Something like that. So it's like dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge. Yes. I think that's what it is. Anyway, references notwithstanding, hopefully I'm not going to die here. I mean, you can see here that I am very low in HP. It's very likely that I will be killed in just a moment. These guys have shields, which is very annoying. And you can see here how easy it is for us to eliminate people that don't have shields. Anyone that does, though, they're automatically upgraded to such a significant survival rating. It's actually crazy. And wow, the amount of people that they're getting in here as reinforcements as well is staggering. We've got this guy right behind me as well. Let's try to make sure we don't die from that. There we go. Nice. Good work, sir. How many have we lost? We've lost 40 people. That is actually not even terribly bad. I mean, 40 people is okay. But obviously, if some of those people are people you've known for many years, of course, that's going to be extremely sad. That's also the reason why generally I feel like a good way to go about the companion system is to try to make companions that the player feels connected to in some way or another. Because as it stands right now, in the current Bannerlord, I am just like, oh, okay. Well, there's a companion, and while they can be effective, and we know they can be effective, it is just not in their, shall we say, in their nature to be able to do that. so that's obviously a bit of a problem. You know, AI and stuff like that really going to make a big difference. But there you have it. Okay, I believe that is indeed a victory for us. Maybe, actually, I'm not entirely sure. We have 360, don't we? Yeah, I think we have 360, 340, 350, something like that. So technically, this could be a defeat. Wow. Actually, it's looking... I mean, it's looking pretty good from this perspective right now. But the problem is... the enemy is getting reinforcements, and they are doing so much damage. We actually did 77 kills. We got 77 kills, which is pretty nice, all things considered. But, yeah, I think we have 300, don't we? Yeah, 300. So they've eliminated 200 of us so far. And technically, the only thing that's going to happen with Gondor is they're going to continually lose people, right? Like, they're losing very, very low tier troops now, because all their high tier troops have already been eliminated, so we should theoretically catch up in regards to casualties. We have another 100 troops, another 100 troops. Are we going to be able to do this? It feels to me like we probably will. Look at it, look at it. We're actually doing okay. We've got 18 Orthanc bodyguards on the field right now, and we've only got 60 people remaining as far as I can tell. This is looking pretty bad. This particular situation right here is looking very, very bad. Unfortunately, our forces... Oh, there we go, there we go. We got some reinforcements coming in. All right. Is that good enough? Is that good enough? We're getting more reinforcements. Okay, that's good, that's good. All right. Yeah, I think we might be able to swarm over them now. It seems like the enemy is putting up a massive fight in this case. I'm actually really surprised. Did I not have... do we actually have 430 instead of 360? Did I actually just imagine how many people we had in the army? I think maybe that is indeed the case, but there you go. We did end up losing 92 of our forces, but most of those guys are low level, so we don't really need to worry about them too much. They're pretty easy to gain, of course. So yeah, but there it is. Wow, that's actually really, really staggering that we were able to even accomplish this. We got 304 renown for that, and of course I am going to be capturing every single person here just so that I can sell them into the ransom broker. 70,000 experience. That's actually kind of crazy in itself, and I think I will probably just go with that. Let's do it. Why not? Let's just donate that. 70,000 experience. I can't say no to it. Usually I'd be like, oh yes, I need to be a little bit careful and stuff like that, but no, we're actually making some pretty good money as it is, so it's not like we really badly need it. And you can see here that obviously now we can actually do something. Now we can do some pretty cool stuff, and that means we can get some food. I have no food. Did I just... Ah, yes, it's because I had so many cows and sheep and stuff like that. Okay, that's actually pretty crazy. So let's actually just go and get this. And I'm very, very thankful that I didn't even have to starve them out, because now we have this situation, which is really quite good. Let's get rid of some of these. There we go. And then we should be fine. All right, let's wait here for some time. It is going to take us quite a while to actually get our people back, but thanks to our surgeon skill and thanks to all of the other things that allow us to regenerate faster while waiting in a town, this shouldn't take too long. And it looks as though they have now been destroyed. Yes. Apparently Grimslade was under siege by one of our forces, and I've just awarded it to someone here, and you can see now, boom, look at this. They are all now declaring war on us individually, which of course is the case, and indeed Rohan is no more, and so we now no longer have to really, hopefully not really deal with them as badly, and Gondor is the only one left, which is really, really shocking, to be honest, because look at what we have here. They have 3 towns remaining. We have captured 2 of them, and obviously the Mouth of Sauron has really been doing a very, very good job over here. But it feels to me like he's kind of stalled around this location at the moment. Doesn't seem to really be going super hyper aggressive yet, which is kind of strange, considering I'm pretty sure he's running around with a massive army, but we'll see how it goes. Anyway, now this is probably going to be just as difficult as the previous one. 30 days, but 949... Ooh, okay, I'm going to have to do something about that. I actually don't really want to, because it's going to take me so long to get to another location. What I would actually really... okay, I'm going to say it right now. What I would like to see in this mod specifically, right? I'm not sure if this is possible, but hopefully it is. I think it is, because I think I've seen it in another one, maybe? Yeah, I think I've seen it in another mod. But a feature that allows us to move faster at a particular time of day due to what kind of race or faction we're playing as. For example, let's say that we're playing as Orcs or Uruks. I think it would probably make sense that we move faster during the night rather than during the day. Obviously, I'm not talking about adding a penalty or any kind of disadvantage or anything like that. I'm just talking about having the Uruks and Orcs move faster during the night. So I'm saying something like, I don't know, maybe a 0.5 increase, something like that, maybe a little bit more. It very much depends, you know, on your own personal balancing wishes. But from my perspective, I feel like at least a 0.5 would make a big difference, but only during the night, right? Only during the night as this faction. And vice versa, in my opinion, if we were to go for, you know, a good faction, if we were going to play as, you know, Gondor or elves or, you know, dwarves or whatever, I feel like they should also gain some kind of speed bonus in certain locations. I'm not talking about having a speed bonus in daytime only. It could also be that they have a speed bonus dependent on the environment and stuff like that. Obviously, there are cultures and selections and so on and so forth to make at the very beginning of your campaign that would obviously come into play there. But I'm talking about very specifically adding a really big-ish boost to movement speed. Because the map is massive, right? The map is massive. And I mean, you can see here, look how long it takes me, right? Look how long it takes me. I'm actually going to test this out right now. Let's just say that I want to go to Grimberg because I'm going to recruit troops, right? I basically always go to around this location here because there's a bunch of towns and castles and so on and so forth. And well, obviously villages in the nearby region. And I want to try to recruit as many people as possible. So let's see. It is currently the 7th of the month. And we're going to see how long it takes me to get over to Grimberg. Alright, so we've made it over to Grimberg, and this was just a test, obviously. I'm not going to show you the entire journey back or anything like that, but I just wanted to see how long it would actually take us to get from point A to point B, from some random point on the map to some other place. And this is how long it's taken us. It's taken us about 5 days, and just about to tick over to the 6th day. So we basically had 6 days worth of travel just from those places. And I'm going to say it right now, obviously, if you look at my my speed here, I am using a lot of horses. I think I have enough horses to be able to increase our speed, but we don't have any cavalry. So of course, that is a big caveat there. You do have to bear in mind it is going to take a lot longer to get from, you know, places if you don't have cavalry. It's very, very important to have cavalry if you're wanting to be quick on your feet. But yeah, obviously, I just wanted to sort of bring that to your attention because I feel like, you know what, it would actually be really, really cool if we could have some unique kind of thing going on where it actually allows us... Whoa, loads of trolls right there. Loads and loads of trolls. Actually, it might be cool to have some trolls for once, so let's actually recruit a bunch. But yeah, as I said, I think it might be really, really cool to have some unique speed bonuses dependent on the culture slash race you choose. Because I feel like, yeah, obviously if you choose Isengard or you choose Mordor or something like that, I feel like making them move faster in nighttime is probably pretty cool. Obviously nighttime doesn't really last that long, so there's also that. But yeah, let's just recruit these guys and then we're just going to make our way back. So yeah, this is generally what I tend to do if I'm looking for troops. I just literally come over here or go to somewhere nearby and then I just, you know, recruit basically everyone that I can get my hands on. And Seems to work pretty well. Yeah, seems to work pretty well. But yeah, so I would personally like to see that, because at the moment, nighttime gives us a disadvantage. It gives us minus 80 or something like that, minus 0.8 or minus 0.78 or something like that. And instead of that, I'd like to see it actually give us a bonus as Mordor or Isengard or any of the evil factions technically. And then, you know, on the other hand, it would be pretty cool if you played as elves or something like that, that you'd gain a bonus in daytime. Maybe you'd gain a speed bonus in daytime or something like that. And then the humans could have various bonuses. Same thing with dwarves as well. You could have them have bonuses, like for example, humans could be good, worse in daytime than the elves, but still good, right? They'd still gain a small speed bonus in daytime. And maybe they'd also gain a small speed bonus in nighttime, but I'm talking about maybe 25% of the other factions. So, for example, if, you know, Isengard were to have a, I don't know, let's just say for the sake of the example, a 1.0 increase during nighttime, then I think humans would do quite well having a 0.25 or a 0.35 increase during nighttime, and then a 0.35 increase during daytime. I think that sounds pretty cool, because then that basically makes it so that they're moving at about 70% the total speed of the Uruks during nighttime, but they're actually doing, you know, 35%, which is actually kind of nice. I feel like that's kind of balanced in that sense, because in my opinion, men are much more variable. You know, they have a lot more adaptability. And so, you know, having that kind of speed bonus differential, that kind of balance between the two, I think that kind of makes sense. And then obviously you have the elves. If you want to go with the same kind of example, elves would move at a 1.0 speed during the day. Obviously, this is, again, just an example. This is not actually what I'm suggesting, but, you know, something along those lines. And then obviously the dwarves. I personally think the dwarves should move very, very well in mountainous terrain. So I'm talking about things like mountainous terrain. Anytime there's a mountain nearby, I feel like they should be gaining some kind of speed. So I'm talking about this right here, this big landmass right here. This is a mountain, right? I feel like anytime dwarves are running along these roads here, I think they should have a speed bonus. You know, I just generally feel like that makes a huge amount of sense. But again, this is just my thoughts on it, and it's, you know, maybe it's not cool. You know, maybe it's not a cool thing to do. So, you know, by all means, let me know what you think. You know, let me know what you think yourself, because for me personally, I feel like it is actually kind of cool to have those kinds of variables, because it further changes and shall we say amplifies the differences between the various factions. And it's so it's going to make it a lot more, well, maybe it's not a good idea. Yeah, maybe it's not a good idea, because I'm thinking right now, if you do that and you're playing as Uruks and you're up against the elves and they have a speed bonus during the daytime, it's going to be very difficult for you to escape from them. So yeah, I guess that's what's going to come in from the sort of like balanced discussion there, because then of course the AI is going to be on you like, you know, nothing else. They're going to be very, very quick. So might be a problem. Alright, so here we go. This has probably been the most difficult siege bombardment we've ever faced. I have literally lost trebuchets after trebuchets after trebuchets almost immediately. I'm actually very, very surprised. We were able to get the walls down, and generally I could wait a little bit longer if we wanted to, but unfortunately we don't have the ability to, because our food is running out. Yes, our food is running out, so we're going to have to go in here, and this is going to be a very dangerous thing to do. They have over 900 people here, obviously, and as you saw in the previous siege, it was actually pretty difficult. So let's see if we can do something here. I'm going to tell my forces just to hold position in there. And we're going to be a bit careful ourselves. I'm not going to go after people this time. I'm just going to stay in the globule of units. And all I'm going to do is kill. That's it. That's all I'm going to do. I'm just going to kill over and over again. And we are going to try and maximize our killing potential, maximize our terror activations, basically making it so that the opponent wants to retreat very, very badly. That's what we want to do. We want to try to force them into a retreat as fast as possible. Oh, got eliminated by one of the Rangers of Aphelion right there, and not even an archer. I mean, shall we say, not even a bow shot. No, not even a bow shot. We got absolutely eliminated by a melee attack coming out of nowhere. I gotta say though, I do feel quite confident about this. I'm kind of hoping that we're gonna be okay. As you can see, our forces are now making their way through. Oh dear. Yeah, this is bad. Yeah, this is... You know what? Do I want to... You know what? I'm actually... You know what? I am actually going to retreat. I am actually going to retreat in this case. I feel like we have the prerogative here to be able to do that. As... Look at this. Look at this. We have absolutely destroyed the opponent. And the only problem is they are going to be restoring themselves quite dramatically. They will be restoring themselves. And I also need to destroy... Well, I also need to restore ourselves, not destroy ourselves. But yes, we need to restore ourselves quite well too. Hopefully it will be relatively fast, maybe. It feels pretty bad actually right now. It feels pretty bad because I am at 25%. 31 wounded. The enemy is taking quite a long time to restore themselves. So I'm very, very pleased about that. However, they are starting to gather near to us. Yes, as you can see right here, we do have a couple of vassals, which may indeed make things quite dangerous for us. As you can see, the militia is back on their feet. The garrison is apparently not able to do too much here. Bear in mind, I only have 5 days worth of food. Only 5 days. That's a very small amount in comparison to what you would need at this point to sustain an army of this size. And oh, all my forces are back on their feet. Okay, that's actually kind of crazy. So let's go for some more tactics skill here while we can, and let's make our way in. Let's go straight on in, and we can do the same thing again, and this is probably going to finish them off. Or at least, I can only hope it will. Now, this time around, I am going to be very, very careful, or shall we say, a little bit more careful than I was before. Which is kind of funny, considering I thought I was being extremely careful the previous time, but apparently not. Ah, hello. Okay, yeah, we're going to have a bit of a problem here. right, there we go. That is absolutely perfect. One of the best things that we can do now is literally just to stand here, actually. Just to stand here and completely ignore any effort for the opponent to draw us in deeper to the streets. And we're just going to literally fight them right here. That's it. We're just going to fight them right here. I'm going to start moving them a little bit more over, because I can tell them to hold position in different places, but I'm not going to be drawn into any kind of aggression here. We're just going to remain very cautious and very smart. Ooh, now this is going to be a little bit dicey here. These guys are obviously really, really low level, but they do have the ability to kill me. Very, very easily, in fact. These polearms are not to be underestimated. Now we should be fine now. There we go. Not too bad, not too bad. Don't get killed by the thrown weapon. Nice little sidestep there. We can maybe finish him off. There we go. And now we're going to tell our forces to charge in. This is where we tell them to charge. Now, I think this is a pretty bad idea for me to come in here like this, but you know what? You know, fortune favors the bold and all that stuff. Don't get shot in the face right now after I've said that. Come on now. Yes, there we go. Okay, we're absolutely fine. All right, here we go, here we go. Hopefully I can manage to stay alive just a little bit longer. Don't get shot in the face. Thank you very much. There we go. Nice. Wow, those guys are literally... They have nerves of steel right there. Can you imagine? A bloodthirsty Uruk being right next to you and you pulling your bow back and being like, yes, I'm going to shoot this guy in the face. Yeah, that sounds like a... Well, sounds like an accident waiting to happen, let's just say that. But yeah, very, very surprising that they didn't switch to melee there. But actually, you know what? I think it probably works out for them very, very well if they decided to actually unleash the bow and let their arrow fly. It would have probably killed me. Would have probably killed me because, well, we've got basically no HP and arrows are very good against us at the moment. And I think that should actually be it, surprisingly enough. And there you go, that's it, yeah. And this is all because we survived. Because you saw exactly what happened when we died before, right? When we died before, our forces, they went on auto-delegate and they just absolutely got themselves slaughtered. Thankfully, they were still able to pull out a victory, but only ever so slightly, right? Very, very slightly there. So yeah, unfortunately, they did manage to retreat, so we don't get double renown rewards, which is kind of unfortunate, but you know, that's just how it is. And we're otherwise just going to be telling our people to go in there. Thank you very much. And there we have it. Okay, another massive, massive amount of prisoners and basically no vassals. Very, very surprising. We haven't seen many vassals here. And let's actually see if we can get them some better gear. Yes, we are. Very nice. Look at that. There we go. Balric definitely needs it, doesn't he? And let's give him a slightly better sword there as well. Slightly better spear, I suppose. And there we have it. I think that's probably all we're going to be going for here. I don't have any other troops, so I won't be able to do anything. Okay, so yeah, 52,000. Let's just donate it to the troops. Why not? And let's just ransom our prisoners. Go into the trade screen, see if how much cash they have here. Yeah, they don't really have anything either. They do have a little bit of money, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do a little bit of selling on these things. And we have basically no food whatsoever, so I am going to be purchasing pretty much all of their fish. Well, not all of their fish, but a majority of their fish. And then we're just going to be waiting here for some time, because we do have some vassals outside, but that is yet another Gondorian town. I gotta say, I do feel as though I think Mordor would probably have a bit of a difficulty taking this if they didn't come with an entirely massive army. Like, obviously, if they came with 2,000 people, they'd probably be absolutely fine. But, you know, thinking about it like that, well, then mostly anyone would be probably, you know, pretty fine there. But yeah, I guess it very much depends on how many people are going to come and defend it. Anyway, that is going to be it for this episode. This is what we've done so far. We have now captured 3 out of the 5 remaining Gondorian towns, and I'm actually thinking what is actually going to happen when we have eliminated Gondor, because obviously we still have the elves and still have the dwarves and the men of Dale and so on and so forth, but they are looking very, very weak right now. And I'm not even talking about the men of Dale or anything like that, or the dwarves or something. I'm talking about, in general, the forces of good. I'm actually kind of surprised that the War of the Ring is still kind of middle here, but I'm going to assume that this particular feature isn't working super accurately right now, and it will probably be working as time goes on in the development cycle. So I thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.